The project begins with a long wooden beam that becomes the main foundation of the boat. Another wooden section is prepared and attached carefully to strengthen the frame and keep the structure balanced. Even at this early stage, you can already see the builder focusing on precision to create a strong base for the entire boat. Next, a pink foam-like covering is added around parts of the wooden frame, helping shape sections of the structure before the plastic panels are installed. Now the large plastic drums are finally brought into the build, and this barrels as complete pieces. The builder carefully cuts them into shaped sections that can fit around the wooden frame underneath. Every cut needs to be accurate because the plastic has to match the exact curve and angle of the structure. Even small mistakes could affect the alignment of the entire boat later on. One by one, the plastic sections are attached tightly onto the wooden frame using large numbers of screws. At the same time, additional wooden supports are installed between sections to strengthen the structure and keep the body more rigid. This part clearly takes a huge amount of patience. Almost every panel needs trimming, reshaping, and adjusting before it finally fits correctly into place. As more sections are added, the transformation becomes much more noticeable. What started as loose recycled materials slowly begins turning into the shape of a real boat. The sides rise higher, the frame becomes stronger, and the overall structure starts looking much more checks alignment while trimming away extra plastic sticking out around the edges. This helps the surface look cleaner and keeps the shape more balanced on both sides. Some sections are removed and adjusted again before being secured permanently. Others are reshaped slightly to fit the curve of the hull more smoothly. What makes this stage impressive is that none of these pieces were originally designed for boat construction. Every panel has to be modified by hand to match the structure underneath. The repeated use of screws across nearly every section also shows how important durability is for this project. The builder clearly wants the plastic shell locked firmly onto the wooden frame before continuing further. As the work continues, the boat begins looking less like a DIY experiment and more like a real handcrafted fishing boat. The shape of the hull becomes easier to recognize, and the entire structure already looks surprisingly solid considering it's being built from Attention now shifts toward the front section of the boat. The builder carefully shapes the bow, trimming away extra wood and adjusting the front angle piece by piece. This area is extremely important because the front of the boat affects how smoothly it moves through the water. A poorly shaped front section could create drag or instability once the boat starts moving, so instead of rushing, the builder carefully refines every curve until the front finally starts looking clean and properly balanced. With the main body now taking shape, extra wood and make the frame feel much more solid. These internal supports help distribute weight more evenly across the hull while also reducing pressure on the plastic sections once the boat is moving through the water. At the same time, work continues around the rear section of the boat. This area needs additional reinforcement because it will eventually carry the engine, propeller system, and a large amount of mechanical force while operating. The builder carefully adjusts and secures each wooden piece before attaching it permanently into place. Even small support sections appear important for keeping the structure balanced and stable later on. Large numbers of screws are also added across the plastic shell, especially around connection points where extra strength is needed most. The screws are placed very close together to create a tighter and more secure connection between the plastic outer body and the wooden frame underneath. At this stage, durability clearly becomes the more. The remaining wooden sections are finally added into place, and the rear of the boat is closed off completely. This gives the structure a much cleaner appearance and helps finalize the overall shape of the hull before waterproofing begins. Now the builder begins sealing the gaps between the plastic sections and around the screws to help prevent water leaks. Additional plastic strips are then attached over the seams for extra protection and stronger waterproofing. Next comes the mechanical side of the build. The builder begins fabricating the propeller shaft system along with the pipe assembly that will connect the engine to the propeller underwater. Some kind of fiber material and reinforced compound appears to be used during this process, likely to strengthen and stabilize parts of the assembly. There also seems to be a bearing moves smoothly with less friction. This entire section requires careful alignment because even a small imbalance could cause vibration problems once the engine starts running. The propeller pipe is installed through the hull and sealed carefully to prevent water leaks. After that, the engine is mounted onto a custom support frame, making the boat finally look fully powered and functional. The homemade rudder is attached next. This steering component will control the boat's direction once it enters the water, making it possible to maneuver smoothly while the engine is running. Openings are cut into the wooden structure to install the steering system and control mechanisms. Belts and linkage components are added, likely to help control throttle movement and steering from inside the boat. Even though this system looks handmade, it's surprisingly well organized and practical for a DIY build. How far the project has progressed. The boat already looks nearly complete. The builder then continues sealing around the external pipe sections using additional material, heating parts of it carefully with a torch-like tool to strengthen and secure the seal. Small openings are made inside the boat to pass metal control rods through the structure. These components appear connected to the rudder system, allowing steering movement from inside the boat. The remaining wooden flooring sections are installed inside the boat. The rear platform and inner deck area finally begin looking complete, giving the boat a much cleaner and more usable interior space. Next, the steering hinge mechanism is installed. This allows the steering system to rotate and control the rudder movement properly while navigating through the water. Compartment and interior sections of the boat. This helps protect the mechanical parts while also making the inside of the boat look far more finished and organized. At this point, the project genuinely resembles a professionally assembled small fishing boat. The builder now installs the external metal structure connected to the rudder system at the back of the boat. Plastic strips and sealing material are added around the mounted sections to help block water from entering through exposed openings. Again, waterproofing remains one of the biggest priorities throughout the entire build. Now comes one of the most visually satisfying moments in the video, the entire finish. The upper front section is painted orange, giving the boat a much more vibrant appearance. The transformation here is honestly huge. Before painting, the project still looked like raw construction materials, but after the colors are applied, the boat suddenly looks alive and professionally finished. With the painting complete, the camera finally shows the fully finished boat from different angles. And considering how this project started, the final result is genuinely impressive. A group of people carefully lift the finished boat and begin carrying it down a small slope toward the water. This moment feels important because everything now depends on whether the boat will actually perform successfully in real conditions. Finally, the homemade boat touches the water for the very first time, and the build proves to be a success. The boat moves surprisingly well on the water. It's honestly impressive to see old plastic drums transformed into a fully functional handmade boat. If you enjoyed this build, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Craft Wilder DIY, and stay tuned for more creative DIY projects.